everyone and welcome back to my channel. On today's video I'm gonna make a strawberry cake. It's called fraisier. It's a French dessert. It has several steps but it's very easy and the outcome is very delicious. It has layers of sponge cake, custard and strawberries. As usual, all the ingredients and the measurements will be listed down below the video in the description box. Don't forget to follow me on social media and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And now let's start. So first thing, I'm gonna make the sponge cake. I'm gonna need some eggs, some sugar and some flour. And for flavoring, I'm gonna need some vanilla extract. First I'm gonna start by beating the eggs with the sugar. I'm gonna put all the eggs at once. Whisk until everything is well combined. Of course, don't forget to add the vanilla extract. Continue to whisk. After that, I'm gonna transfer the bowl into a double boiler. The water must be simmering. It doesn't have to be boiling, otherwise you will cook the eggs. So I'm gonna whisk for about 5 minutes until the sugar is dissolved. Then I'm gonna transfer the mixture into my stand mixer. Of course, you can use an electric whisk. And now I'm gonna whisk for about 10 to 15 minutes until the egg mixture is very fluffy and doubled in volume and it has a very pale color. So you just have to stick with it. It may take, as I said, 10 to 15 minutes. And as you can see here, this is how it should be. It has stiff peaks and very light in color, almost white. At this point I'm gonna add the flour, but you have to sift it first. So sift it directly on the egg mixture. Now I'm gonna start to fold the flour into the egg mixture. You can use a whisk or a spatula, and you wanna fold it carefully and very slowly so that you don't deflate all the air you created in the eggs. So keep on folding very carefully until the flour is well combined with the rest of the ingredients. Don't forget to scrape the sides of the bowl just to make sure everything is combined. Now transfer the cake batter into a cake tray. Here I buttered it slightly and lined it with some parchment paper. And using your spatula, spread it evenly. And at this point, make sure that your oven is preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about 180 Celsius. And you want to bake it for about 10 minutes. So in the oven it goes. And after you get it out of the oven, you want to cover it with a kitchen towel so that it stays soft. So I have a mousse ring here. It's used for cold desserts. And I'm just measuring 8-inch circle and another circle that is slightly smaller. I'm just pressing to know where to cut. And I'm gonna cut the circles using a knife. And when you're done with the cutting, keep them covered so that they stay soft. So now the sponge is ready. I'm gonna move on to make the custard. The ingredients I'm gonna need are some milk, egg yolks, I have 3 here, some sugar, some flour and some cornstarch, butter, it must be soft at room temperature, and finally some vanilla extract. First I'm gonna start by whisking the egg yolks with the sugar and the vanilla extract. Now I'm gonna whisk until everything is well combined and I have a pale color. That's looking good. Now I'm gonna add the flour and the cornstarch. And I'm gonna continue whisking until the flour and the cornstarch disappear and I have a smooth texture. That's perfect and that's what I want. Now let's move on to the milk. I want to heat it first before adding it into the egg yolk mixture. So I have a pot here, it's on medium heat. I added to it the milk and I'm gonna heat it just below simmering point. You don't want it to be boiling at all. So after a few minutes, the milk must be hot and at the right temperature. I'm gonna start adding it to the egg yolk mixture. I'm not gonna add it all at once, otherwise I will cook the egg yolks. So I'm gonna add a little bit at a time, then whisk, add more, and whisk again, and so on until I finish all of the milk. Now I'm gonna transfer everything again to the pot and back to the heat, and I'm gonna stir continuously until the custard starts to thicken. And you should always stir, you don't want to leave it without stirring, otherwise you will have lumps in your mixture and the cornstarch and the flour will stick to the bottom of the pan. After a few minutes the custard must be thick, smooth and thick, just like that. I'm gonna transfer it into a bowl, cover it with a cling film, and let the cling film touch the surface of the custard so that it doesn't form a layer on top. Then let it cool at room temperature. Because I'm not going to add the butter now, I'm gonna wait until it's cooled down. Now the custard here is cooled down. I'm gonna whisk it again until it's smooth again. And at this point I'm gonna start to add the butter. I cut my butter into 4 equal parts, and I'm gonna add each part at a time. I'm gonna add a little bit, whisk, and then add more butter, and then whisk until everything is well combined. And I'm gonna continue to do so until I finish all of the butter, and I will end up with a very smooth and buttery, very delicious custard. So that's looking perfect. That's what I want. Now the custard is ready. I'm gonna move on to make the strawberry syrup. So I have here some strawberry puree. It's very simple. I just had some strawberries and I blended them until they're very smooth. I also strained them to get rid of any seeds. And here I'm adding to them some simple syrup. It's just sugar with water cooked together until the sugar is dissolved, and that's it. I also added some vanilla extract. Mix everything together and it's done. Now here you may notice that there's a white foam on top. It's better to get rid of it, so you end up with a nice and red syrup. You don't want this foam. And of course you want to have some strawberries chopped. Now everything's ready. It's time to assemble the cake. So I'm gonna assemble the cake in my serving plate. I'm gonna start with the bigger circle as a first layer. I'm gonna put the ring around it and secure it at 8-inch. Now it's time to brush the cake with the syrup that we made, the strawberry syrup. And you want to brush it generously with the syrup because the cake is kind of dry because it doesn't contain any butter. And make sure to have some leftover of the syrup because we're gonna use that later. And here I'm just lining the inside of the ring with some parchment paper, and I'm gonna start lining the strawberry pieces on the sides. The strawberries must be cut in half, and that's it. Of course, remove the green part, and you want to line them on the sides, and do your best to find the strawberries that are similar in the size. That is just for presentation purposes. It looks nicer. And as you place the strawberry pieces, make sure that the strawberry piece is pressed down on the sponge and beside the other strawberry and on the side of the ring, so that you have a nice and clean finish at the end. Now I'm gonna put the first layer of the cream or the custard. I'm gonna make sure to put cream in the spaces between each strawberry or between each 2 strawberries. Make sure to fill all the space. Smear it just like I'm doing, and of course put in the center some cream. Now you want to spread it evenly, make it nice and smooth. And now you want to add some chopped strawberries. I finally chopped them. I'm going to put them in the middle, leaving about 3 centimeters on the sides. Now I'm going to put another layer of the sponge, press it down firmly, and I'm also going to brush it with the strawberry syrup. Don't forget to brush it generously. As I said earlier, this sponge doesn't contain butter, so it's kind of dry. Now put what's left of the cream, spread it evenly. Make sure to get it onto the sides because you have spaces there, so fill everything with the cream. I'm just using a spoon to make it nice and smooth. Now for the final layer, I'm gonna need some gelatin powder. It's unflavored, of course. And here I added the gelatin to some hot water. I'm gonna mix it very well and set it aside for about 10 minutes until the gelatin dissolves. After that, I'm gonna add the gelatin mixture to the leftover strawberry syrup. Mix it very well. Now if you can't find unflavored gelatin, use those flavored jelly boxes and skip this whole step. Now after it's mixed very well, I'm gonna pour it on top of the cream. Pour the whole quantity. Now I'm gonna let it sit in the fridge for a minimum of 3 hours until the jello is set, also the cream with the cake and the strawberries. So in the fridge it goes for a minimum of 3 hours. And here it is after I got it out of the fridge. Everything is nice and set. I'm gonna remove the ring along with the parchment paper. And if you want to garnish it or decorate it, you can use some chopped up strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, whatever you like. Of course, I'm gonna cut it open to show you how it looks from the inside. The layers are nice and clean, everything is set, and it looks very beautiful. Also, it tastes very delicious. The cake is light, and the custard is very creamy and soft, and with the fresh strawberries, it was really delicious. So I hope that you give it a try. I know it has several steps, but it's very easy, and the result is worth it. So that was it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I also hope that you liked the recipe. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'm gonna see you soon in another video. Bye!